Are we waiting for somebody to join?
Yeah. What? Hello, everybody, and welcome to today's season. I would like to introduce today's presenter, Dr. Nisa Arora, corporate trainer and YouTuber. She will take today's season on today's webinar on how to begin a career in data science. So I would like to welcome Dr. Nisa Arora to present this webinar.
Okay. Yeah, thank you,
Ma'am,
Cretigence, for inviting me. Everybody,
ma'am,
can you hear me?
ma'am, this is one-way communication. Attendees can ask question or interact only through Q&A section.
Yeah, that's what if they can just interact with me in the chat window. This should be interactive session so that they get to know their queries answered. So, or if it is chat is disabled initially, it's up to you. Then you can answer, so you can hear me and you can see my screen, right? Like usually what I do in my sessions is I allow participants to chat and interact. If it is not a technical lecture, I allow them to interact with me. That way it becomes a two-way communication and more effective. But if you want a participant to just participate in the Q&A session later for 10-15 minutes, that's okay with me. So my screen is visible. Can you see the slide deck?
No, ma'am.
You can't see the presentation?
No, ma'am.
Let me share it again. Is it visible now?
Yeah, ma'am. Please wait.
Yeah.
Uh, ma'am, you can turn it to full screen.
So my screen is visible and I believe I'm audible enough. Participants, I can't interact with you, but in case you don't hear my voice or you can't see my screen, you need to find a way to communicate the same, probably with Cretigence. So today's topic is career in data science and how to start. Usually when we talk about career, I have seen that especially freshers are very much confused what to do, how to start a career. And especially when we are talking about data science domain, it is really a daunting task because data science is a very vast field. And when you start Googling, you see that there are so many things, so many buzzwords, terminology, new tools, technologies, and I have seen that freshers always get confused with where to begin their journey. That's why we have chosen the topic today's talk, career in data science and how you can begin. So what you can expect in this talk is I will not be discussing the theoretical portion, what is data science, what all are the things in machine learning, artificial intelligence, how these things are mingled together. We are not talking about that, but here this talk is purely on giving you career advice for data science, right? But if you have any specific queries, you can always discuss that in the QA session. So here is the agenda of today's talk. First, I will let you know something about myself. I always believe that the learner should know a little bit about the instructor so that they can feel confident about what to ask and when to reach to him or her. Then there would be career advice. And finally, I'll tell you how it works because you will see career advice on internet. A lot of advice is there, but actually how it works, how it will work for you, what you should do to chain all those advices together and make it working for you. And there after that there would be a QA session where you can post your queries to me. So here is something about me. And if you are good at effective Googling, or if you are very curious, usually curious students, they explore about the speaker before even attending the event. So if you are one of those, you might have explored my profile and might have known something about me. If not, let me tell you, I'm an educator by heart and a trainer by profession. So I'm a corporate trainer in the area of data science, machine learning, and also all those stuff. I write also, I create videos also, I create courses also, I take live training. So I'm into multiple things, but by heart I'm an educator. So I always believe in making things simple for the students, whatever I'm teaching, be it mathematics, statistics, Excel, or be it data science or Python or something other thing. But I always believe in making things easy for students so that they feel that yes, they can do it. So that kind of thing. And there is a factor of mentoring involved in that. A teacher needs to be a mentor so that we can, uplift the students and we can give them confidence that they can do. So recently I've been a mentor for Women in Tech Global Conference, and I enjoy doing mentoring occasionally. I can do it on daily basis, one-on-one for everyone, but I do occasionally. I believe language is not a barrier, Vishwajit. Is it fine? You can understand the language which I'm speaking. Like some people,
Yeah,
some students are not comfortable with English, or the pace. I need to slow down.
No,
Fast.
everyone is comfortable in English because attendees are from all over India. So
okay. So I believe my pace is also okay. If you think I'm going too fast or too slow, you can let me know. So here are some of my contributions to the community. So you can see that I contribute a lot to research communities and online QA sites and learning communities. Here are some of my profiles. So if you are interested to find answers to a particular research query, coding related queries, reading some blog post if that interests you, technical blogs related to data science, and if you are interested to listen to my previous talks or my research papers, publication, lectures, so anything if you are interested in, you can follow some of these profiles and you can learn a lot. And I believe those who are active learners might be knowing some of these profiles. If you are new to this, it means you have not yet started learning effectively. You should know how to use Quora effectively for learning. You should know how to use Stack Exchange or ResearchGate for learning, and the blogs and all those things. So if you are new to these things, just take your time, go ahead and start learning and start seeing what platform suits best to your learning style and your needs, and get that power of social media and all these sites to make your learning effectively. And there are so many sites, so if you get confused about where to approach me, soon I'll be having a website live and I'll be sharing that so that you can contact me there. Just a moment. Yeah, so in the QA session I would be answering the queries, but sometimes what happens in such kind of live events that we get so many questions and we because of limitation of time can't answer all the questions during that event. So if that is the case, later on also you can always approach me on LinkedIn. You can drop me a message there and follow me there, and you can drop me an email with the proper subject line. There are high chances that I will answer you within a time frame. Yeah. So now come to the topic. First, I'm going to talk about, is data science a right choice for you? If you are here watching to my webinar, I believe you already know what is data science, little bit understanding of what is data science, if not in depth, right? And if you are here, it means you are thinking to make data science as your career choice. So first of all, let's ponder upon this prominent question, whether it is a right choice given your background, your interest, and your personality and everything, right? So maybe most of you are here because you are fascinated with this quote by Harvard Business Review. They say that data science is the sexiest job of 21st century. And this quotation has given a fire to this data science that everyone started looking for data science as their career choice. You might be here because you think that in data science domain you can get lucrative salaries, like the recent survey of US Bureau of Labor Statistics. If you look at their statistics prediction for data science salary, it's a very huge amount for median salary of data scientist in most of the countries. So this can be one of the factor which attracts you for data science. Another factor can be there, which is fascinating title. I have seen that those who are just BTech or those who are doing some masters and they just dream to get the title of data scientist because it looks very fancy and jazzy. So you want to show up that I have a title in my job, which is a scientist title. And otherwise, scientist is a term which we don't think we can get there very easily. Future safe job, if you believe, because we all have seen during this pandemic time and recession and slowdown, we have seen that there are so many layoffs in the companies and companies are firing. So people are losing job and there are so many businesses and industries which are going to a massive slowdown. If you talk about travel industry, and there are so many others, hospitality and all. So you believe that if you just enter to data science domain, you are going to safeguard your future, that you are never going to lose your job. So these are some of the things, and yeah, some of the students get attracted because they dream about getting the entry in the FAANG companies. FAANG you might have heard about. This is Facebook, Amazon, Apple, Netflix, and Google. So people think that these companies are heavily dependent on data. So if I get a good profile and if I start working in the direction of my data science career, probably I will land a good job in these companies. So these are the points which attract people to data science as their career choice. But let me tell you honestly, if you are here because of these points, you are at the wrong place, because it's not as jazzy and as dream world as you believe. Because there are, when we say sexiest job of the 21st century, but we see huge demand and huge supply also. So if demand is huge in the industry, but the supply has also grown multi-fold in recent year. So for one single position, you need to compete with thousands with the applicants. Salaries, again, it's country specific, industry specific. There are many things. Fascinating title if you are thinking about. So it's not always the case that you get data scientist title. You might get stuck with the data analyst title for years, and you might even get the title of data guy or data professional or something which is not that jazzy. So don't run after the title. And no field is future safe. Although we know that data science is going to grow in near times, but you need to make sure that you remain competitive in the world. Otherwise, you might also face the things which other people are facing. And for entry in FAANG companies, they don't hire everybody. So we need to set the expectation realistic. We can aim high, we can prepare for that, but we should not just think that this is the only way we can get to these countries. So basically, you should enter to the world of data science only if you believe that you love data, you love numbers, you love data, you love to explore those numbers, you love to do data crunching and dig in it deeper to find hidden insights. For example, if you have any Excel sheet, you all might have done something in Excel, maybe just your attendance sheet, mark sheet, or whatever data you have seen so far in your student life or college life. Take that Excel sheet and just sit together, sit in front of your laptop and just think what you can do with that data. Is there anything hidden in the data which you don't know? If it is, how you will take this information out? Suppose you have 100 rows and 10-20 columns and some data which you understand, what you can do with that data to get insight. That kind of curiosity you should have if you are in the data domain. You should be willing to solve problems, solve business problems and other problems as well. So as a data professional, your job will not have to take a data, use a tool, do some analysis, give them the result. No, it's never the case. You are there to solve the business problem. You are there, companies hire you to create an impact. Companies hire you so that you can create a value in the company's business, or you can increase their revenue, or you can solve some of the problems like attrition problem, defaulters, credit card defaulters problem. So some of the business problem you should take interest and you should solve those problems. So you need to learn that kind of attitude also, how you can connect your data problem with your business problem. And you should be able to communicate with the stakeholders. So in that skill is really important, because if you are in data domain, you should be able to work in a team. You should be able to communicate well with different teams, prove them your point, understand what they are saying. Sometimes what happens, we work in one particular industry or one particular position and we are happy with what we know. But in data science, you should never stop learning from others. You are a data scientist, but you should be willing to and ready to learn from the HR person in your company, learn from the operations department person, learn from the marketing person, so that you understand their terminology, you understand how their data or their things can get influence your model or your results. So you need to be developing this skill also. You need to ready to learn every day, because data science is ever growing, ever changing field, quickly adapting. So you can never ever stop learning. If you are ready to do all these things, then yes, data science is a right career choice for you. So it requires high commitment actually. So these are the things which I wanted to make clear before I talk about how actually you can land into data science. Now let's talk about hype versus reality, or maybe some myths which I want to burst. There are so many. Like some people have started saying that data science is going to fade away soon, because we are seeing AutoML libraries, we are seeing some tools which are helping us to do all the tasks automated fashion. So we don't need data scientists. It is not a right thing to say, because every day we are generating tons of data. And in the today's era, when the data is going to increase consistently, there would be always need of persons who are going to give or make insights from the data. Yes, we can use data, AutoML tools and those kind of stuff which can make our life easy, but there will be always a place for human intelligence, domain experience, their insights or common sense, all those things which machines cannot do. We can program machines to do the stuff easy for us, but machine cannot replace human, at least for coming few years, right? And data scientist is a fancy name of business analyst. It is again a myth which should be bust, that data scientist is a separate position, business analyst is a separate thing. We will talk about that very soon. What are these things? Data science is all about tools. So I have seen this is really problematic, that not only freshers but experienced people who are working in some industry and they are in a mood to make a career switch. They want to switch to data science domain for some reason. They think that I will learn Python, I am good to go with data science. I know Tableau or I know TensorFlow or something, and I am good to go. It is a wrong conception. Tools are just there to help us. They are not going to replace the other skills which data science need. For example, if you decide to bake a cake today, you are new to baking, you have gathered all the tools which are required to bake a cake, and you have even downloaded some recipe, or you have watched a YouTube video how to bake a cake and how to do the icing. You have all the things, but unless you know the art of baking the right cake, you cannot bake a good cake. Just tools will not make sure that the cake which you are baking for the first time is going to be good, right? And second thing is interest and passion. If you are baking a cake, but you think that it's a burden for me, I don't want to do it, it's not my job, I should buy a cake, why I'm baking a cake, then your cake is not going to taste good. Same thing is about data science. If you want to enter data science, enter with a passion. If you are just entering because you think you will get a good job, but you are not liking your work, you are not liking your tools and the skills which you need to learn, you are not liking the amount of effort it takes, then probably you will soon get what we can say, burned out, and you will soon realize that it's not my cup of tea, I can't make it to data science, right? So make sure that you keep yourself motivated, right? And next is only large organization need data professional. It's not true. Even the small scale organization can leverage the power of data to some level and use data science. Storytelling soft skills are not required. So soft skills are required in any domain. Soft skills, communication skills, personality, team management and discipline and all those things, and storytelling, art of communicating, art of presenting, So all these skills are required in every domain, and it's even more important in data science domain, because there you are playing with the data, you know the data, you know the tools, but the managers of the company, the project owners of the company, they don't know data, they don't have technical skills. You need to convey to them, you need to convince to them what you are trying to show with your model. If you will just show that I have made a regression model, I have made a random forest model, my model is this much accurate and this is the validation accuracy and so on, they are not going to understand a single word which you are uttering. You need to get the skill how you are going to communicate your technical results to the non-technical audience, and how you are going to convince them. For example, you are working in a company as an analyst, and the company uses Excel for charts and dashboards and analysis and everything. And you believe that if you use Tableau or Power BI or something else, you can make an impact, you can make the life easy, you can use more features, and it will in the end going to help the company get better data insight. In the end, it is going to give them ROI. But company is unwilling to invest in buying a new software. Now your task is to convince them that why you want to get Tableau as a tool, right? So you can't just convince them by talking to them. You need to have the art of effectively convincing them, and you can show them some charts or dashboards or something, some reports, some data insight which can prove your point that how it is going to help them in the long run. And some more myths which we hear about many times: having a degree from a top college, job guarantee. It's not true. Yes, it helps if you have a degree from a college which is a top college, IITs, IIMs, it helps to an extent. If you have a degree from a foreign university, sometimes it helps to an extent, but you don't need that if you have willingness to do that. And it doesn't give you a guarantee that if you are from IIT, you are going to make it to success. Right? You need to work hard, you need to keep growing, you need to upskilling yourself after getting degree. So all these things do matter more than your degree or your college name. Data science competition equal to real life projects. So if you think you are good at Kaggle project or some other kind of projects or hackathons, you are performing well, it means you are going to be successful in your data science projects early in your career. This is not always true. I am not saying that this is not important. This is important to develop your skill, participate in the competition, but I am saying that don't relate it with the, don't take them as equal. Real life projects are much more complicated. They have too many other factors which you need to take into account, right? If time will allow, maybe I'll show you something for this. And more certification equal to high chances of landing a job. So these days, after a lockdown, I've seen a surge in very students doing so many certifications and putting them on social media. I've done that. It's okay if you want to do certification, if you want to learn something, it's really good thing. But doing a certification, getting a certification, it's not going to give you high chance of landing a good job because everybody is doing that. You need to stand out. First thing, whatever course you are doing, you need to take most out of it. You need to learn it well. You need to practice it well. You need to use it well. You have done 20 hours course, you have done 60 hours course, you have put a certificate on social media, but you have not done enough practice. This is not going to give you anything. But if you are doing a 5 hours course, you are doing enough practice, you are communicating, you are involved in the community discussions, you are showing your work some way. We will talk about some of the ways it is going to increase your chance to get a job. Data professional equal to data scientist. I think I have talked about it here also. We will talk about all different data related jobs. There are many, so not everyone is a data scientist. And yes, if you believe that I can learn all the required skills in some time frame, maybe 1 year, 2 years, 6 months, whatever you have decided, and you believe that I can relax thereafter, I will get a jazzy job in a very nice office, data scientist title and good salary, and I can relax. It is not going to be the case. You should be ready to learn every day. So these are some of the things. Now let's talk about the important topic, which is data scientist, data science job rules. When you look at data related job, there are many different types of jobs. Like in a company, usually there is a product owner who decides and about which product they are willing to launch, what should be the features of the product. So this may or may not be related to data. data science, but we are currently talking about the products which are related to data science. For example, your company wants to build a recommendation engine, means you want to recommend products to your customer. Company wants to do customer segmentation in marketing domain. For example, you do email marketing or any kind of Facebook, Google, those kind of marketing. And you want to make sure that your marketing emails reach the target customer. You don't want to invest money and time and just send random emails to random people, right? For example, I'm here and you are just showing me something which is not related to my interest, my area, or whatever I'm looking for, and you are just sending me mails after mails. I'm just going to unsubscribe you, and I'm just going to get annoyed with you. So that those kind of customer segmentation or whatever you want to do, that is the product which is the role of product owner. Now there comes these important roles of data professionals: data engineer here, data analyst, data scientist, or some companies call it machine learning engineer, and then visualization expert, and these. So let me tell you the difference between these roles. And along with these all roles, there is some other roles like domain expert, operations team. These are not exactly related to data science, but you need to, as a data professional, you need to coordinate between those also. You need to get the domain experts advice at times. You need to see the operation teams and understand how the particular company's IT infrastructure is, how they are working, what cloud services are they using. So all those things you need to coordinate. So these domain expert, operations team, product owner, these are not exactly the data science related role, but you need to coordinate with them, right? And let's talk about data engineer. Now understand it carefully if you are new to this, and if you don't already know this, that data engineer means the person who has the responsibility to understand what product the company want, what they are trying to do, or what business problem the company is trying to solve. So they need to talk to, communicate to, or understand the requirement with the product owner. They need to understand the requirement with the domain expert, because if the company is having some product in marketing or HR or IT or finance or telecom or a particular domain, then as a data engineer, it's your responsibility that you get their advice time to time, so that you understand the domain specific terminology, trends, and other things which might impact your data model. You might need to talk to the operations team regarding the data storage, IT infrastructure, and other things, how these things works. So you need to understand all these things. You need to collect data, and you need to perform the task of ETL and transform and load the data. You need to make the data accessible. You need to perform the right queries on the data. So you need to make the data accessible for the persons who are down in the team. So these all tasks related to data which you are going to do. If you are interested in these kind of roles where actually you are not using machine learning at all, what you are using is you are using the tools of databases, queries, ETL, maybe some data visualization, and you are good at interacting with people of different team. If you are good at understanding what other people are saying outside your domain, and if you are good at compiling everything together, then you should think about data engineering role. Then data analyst. Data analysts, what they do is they get data, they try to explore the data and analyze the data. So they use some visualization tools, they use some libraries. Many times they just use Excel, SQL kind of things, but these days companies need, and you need to get better by using some libraries like R or Python libraries for data wrangling, data manipulation, data cleaning, also filtering out or doing something for the missing values, outliers, those things. And you need to basically prepare the data which is suitable for machine learning models. Here I am assuming that my audience is familiar with what is machine learning, what are algorithms. If somebody has some doubt, they can tell me in the QA session, right? So data analyst works as a bridge between data engineer and data scientist. So they give the data ready to the data scientist. Now data scientists and data engineers, These are generally the experts of machine learning algorithms or statistical concepts. They usually companies expect, and usually they should have good background in theoretical knowledge, also some mathematical background also. So these take the data, they also explore the data again, they perform the feature engineering so that they find out useful features, they create models, machine learning models. So multiple models they try to create, compare, parameter tuning they do. For these models, they find out the better model, they do validation or testing of the model. So all those sort of things they do. But this is again, this is not a single person task. So they might need inputs from the data analysts for some particular exploration or something. Sometimes they feel that during the feature engineering, they are creating some variable, they are manipulating some variable. So they need input from the data engineer. So they take insight from the data engineer. It depends actually. They might need to sometimes directly talk to the domain expert and understand the particular domain or particular data insight. So all these things are mingled actually. There is a map which is very complicated. And then after the model is ready, they get a perfect model as per their analysis. That model is going to get deployed. So there comes the role of a software engineer. Now the title can be software engineer, the title can be AI engineer or whatever. So their role is to test the model for production and deploy the model. Test and deploy mainly. But during this process also they need to take care about data leakage, or whether the model is not performing well, there is some bug, or the model is not working as expected. So here again they can't work in isolation. They need to talk to data scientist and data engineer again and again if they have some issues in deploying the model. So all these roles are related. I am telling you all these details so that by listening to this talk, you try to identify what are your key skills, what interests you, and where you can think you can make an impact. What would be the right role for you, data engineer or data analyst or whatever. So that is the thing you need to understand before you think about taking a career in data science. Now this is, I have left visualization expert and storyteller. Usually everyone need little bit of visualization skill. If you are a data analyst or data scientist or I think software engineer, I don't think they need it, but all these roles you need some visualization skills where you should know how to create right chart, how to explore data using those charts, or how to communicate your results using those charts. So these kind of skills are important. So usually companies either want everyone to have visualization skills to an extent using some tool, we will talk about that, or storytelling, these kind of a skill everybody should have. Like you are a data engineer, you should have the skill of understanding data, creating a story with the data, and communicating well with different team and understanding their aspect and passing the message to the data analyst or data scientist. So everybody should have this skill. That's why I believe this is really important skill which is mostly underrated, because whenever you Google the skill required for data science job or this job or that job, or if you Google about the tools required, many times you don't see this appearing, but this is really important. In many good companies, they even have a separate position for data storyteller or data visualization expert. But it depends upon again the company which you are looking for. So different company have different cultures and different company have different designation names. So don't worry if you are you think that I'm developing machine learning model, I'm doing all this stuff, they are still calling me data analyst. It's okay. They are calling you HR analyst, marketing analyst. It's okay. They are giving you some other title which is not even one of these. That is okay. What is important is what work you are doing and how much impact you are making in the company. That is even more important. So as a fresher, I believe here most of the audience is college student and fresher. So for fresher, I would say data engineer, data analyst, and a visualization expert and software engineer. These are 3-4 things where you can start focusing on. Data scientist and ML engineer will come also if you are good at stats, machine learning algorithm. If you can invest time in learning these things, and if you are interested to learn these things, that is even more important, that you are interested, then you can think about this also. But if you believe it is too heavy for you at the beginning, then you can start your career as data analyst or data engineer, depending upon what you are good at. So I believe I have given you a idea about different rules which you should look at and how to prepare for those rules. Now, I'm not talking about non-technical skills because there are so many and time is limited, but let me talk about required technical skills. Now, when looking at the slide, students might get overwhelmed that we cannot know and remember all these things. I understand that. And that's why I'm saying data science is a field. It's a journey, it's not a destination. So no single person can know all of these, right? So don't worry. Don't let this thing come to you that I cannot learn all these things within a given time. Data science is not for me. If you are just willing to learn slowly and gradually, this is for you. And you don't need to learn everything. So if you are targeting data engineer role, and software AI engineer or software engineer who is going to deploy the ML models, those kind of roles, then you need to learn these skills where you do how to do ETL, how to do database management, SQL, no SQL, those kind of databases, big data and distributed computing, how you can use the power of multiple GPUs in your computing. So those kind of stuff you should know. And for data engineering, it is also important that you know about cloud platforms. It's really important. In today's world, most of the company are leveraging the power of cloud. So they are maybe having the IT infrastructure partially on the cloud and partially it is on local system, but they are in a way using some of the cloud platforms, and these are three common cloud platforms: Amazon AWS, sorry, Microsoft Azure, and Google Cloud. So you should try to learn one of these, and you should try to learn database and ETL and those queries and those things for just getting starting in data engineering thing. And definitely with time you need to expand your things about managing version, projects, Git, GitHub, and all other things. One at a time, start one at a time, give it enough time, and once you feel I'm comfortable, then you can just think about what comes next in your journey and what you feel you need to learn, that you can go. If you are targeting data scientist role, which is even challenging for freshers, you might not get there as a fresher, but if you're targeting that, you need to learn statistical analysis, mathematical concept, little bit of that, only application part. It's okay if you are from non-math background, and I know I was a math teacher long back, years back. I'm PhD in math, so I know that people hate math. I don't like that. But if you are one of those who don't like math, if you are one of those who find difficult to understand math, it's okay. Just try to understand the application part, how you are going to use the application. You don't need the formulas. You don't need the mathematical computation manually because tools are there to help you. Just try to understand the logic. That's easy to learn. And machine learning algorithms. These are important for data scientist role. For data analyst role also, you need to know statistical analysis. Machine learning and mathematical concept, if you don't know, that is okay initially. Even for data analysis, it is required because you are going to explore your data. So for exploring your data, you need statistical analysis. It's a complete subject in itself, but you need the basics to just get your journey started. Programming concept. So those who are from IT, those who are BTech, I have seen many students here are BTech, so they might already have done some of the subjects in their curriculum, BTech curriculum, data structure, algorithm, database management system, OOPS concept, these kind of things. So if you are good at that, that's okay. If you want to brush up the concept, you can always do. Those who are not from programming background, I will say that initially you can ignore this. For example, I am PhD in math. So those who are not from computer science background, those who have never studied this, initially you can skip these. These are going to be useful definitely, but you can later on learn these skills, right? If you are targeting data scientist role, you start with these skills which you are comfortable with, and then slowly and gradually you will develop and you will learn these concepts. Don't worry about everything doing at once. Now we talk about tools. Now it's a long list. Definitely R and Python are the thing. If you are targeting analyst role, let me tell you, for analyst, you need Excel, you need SQL, you need one data visualization tool. Just one, whatever your company is using, or probably whatever which you want to use. So Tableau, Power BI, D3JS, QuickSilk, there are many other, QuickView. So you need to find out which one is better suitable for you, or otherwise which one the company is demanding. So although I believe these both have their plus and minus point, but Power BI is becoming more popular. Although this one is in the market from quite a long time, and it is relatively new, but this is very expensive, and this is becoming very popular because of Microsoft product. So maybe you can start with this, and it's nothing but simple Excel. If you know Excel, it's really easy to just switch to Power BI. You can just spend few hours and you will get an idea how to do that. Then you can always improve. So these are the skills you need as an analyst. Again, in R Python, I will talk about this because people debate a lot about these. These TensorFlow, PyTorch you don't need initially. I have written because these are the tools you might see in the job descriptions, but you don't need them initially. These are more useful for deep learning, computer vision, natural language processing, those kind of tasks. So unless you are targeting those jobs, you don't need that in the beginning of your journey. And I would say don't ever start reading these things if you are new to this, if you are a beginner. Put them for a later stage of time. You will get fascinated as soon as you will start Googling things. You will see everybody is talking about deep learning, and you start with these tools. But I believe you should start with simple tools. You should start with the algorithms which you can understand, which you can implement, and later you can always improve and add on things to your bucket, right? AutoAD, AutoML tools. So some of the companies where they have more non-technical people prefer using the AutoML tool also to speed up their task, and it's easy to learn. But again, I believe if you want to learn theory, if you want to target for data science, data scientist role at some point in your life, then it's better you first get a mastery on Python R. Then definitely you can always learn for ML, AutoML, AutoEDA tool. There are some quick AutoEDA library, just one line of code and get so many charts. So you can use that. Definitely, it's easy to learn, but it depends how much time you want to put for each of the tools. And these are some of the big data tools. This is not my forte, so I don't talk much about the comparison of these tools. I have not done that. Now let's talk about cloud. We have talked about cloud, version control, collaboration, project management, and all these things. When beginners start to code, they need to learn, it is really important how you are going to manage different versions. Versions, when I'm saying, there are two things. One is usually beginners do Python, a lot of Python, and Python libraries keeps on changing a lot. They keeps on changing every week, and there are some updates, and there is some function which is now deprecated, and also on. So first you need to learn how you are going to manage environment, and you can do that with Anaconda. Project means you should try to, after you are initially comfortable with the basics, you should try to work in the IDE where you can create project, where you can create modules, where you can create classes, you can take help of those. So you can create reproducible code, you can create deployment ready code. So this will come with practice. These are some of the advanced things which you will learn with practice. It is not that you should do it from day one, but with time you need to enter all these things to your bucket. Git and GitHub, obviously, I think CS student already know it, but if you don't know it, these are there for version control and sharing your work or collaboration in a team. So every company, any role related to computer science or programming or data related job, you need to use some of the version control tools, and mostly Git and GitHub are very popular. So I would suggest you to learn this. It will just take few hours of yours. And once you learn Git and GitHub and managing environments and all those, make it a good practice that whenever you start doing coding, you use these tools in your day-to-day work. So you will get a hang on, you will try to, you will see that how you are improving and how it is making your life easy. So it will take little bit of your time, but this is something which you should learn if you are comfortable with coding in at least one of the languages, be it R or Python. I think I have talked enough about visualization and storytelling. If you want to know more about this, here you can click and see my talk on data storytelling. And if you click here, you can see a playlist of mine regarding data visualization. It's not yet complete, but there are a few lectures in that. Anything, Vishwajit? I'm in a habit. I talk to my students whether they want to ask anything or something. But let me just continue. Time is. So if you are in the old debate whether you should learn R or Python, I would say it's not a debate anymore. You should use both. So actually it depends upon objective. If you are academician, if you are just interested in writing research paper using some statistical analysis or mathematical optimization, you can just rely on R, because R is the best statistical software ever. Python can never beat that in statistical analysis. So if that is your target, you can be happy with just learning R. If you want to enter into data science, you can't just do it with R, you need to learn Python also. Both tools are amazing and open source. They have some limitations. So there are some specific things which are good in R and specific things which are good in Python. So you need to take care of those things, and it also depends on industry. Some industries like pharmaceutical, biostatistics, and they use heavily R and SAS also. But most of the industries use both of them. So basically you need to learn both. You can start with one at a time. Now student usually ask me, should I start with R or Python? Actually, it depends on your background, your level of comfortable with both the things. You just see both of the things for a few hours and see what you find appealing to you. I believe those who are programmers, have done engineering, have done something, they already are comfortable, or they have already done some course in Python in their course degree. So you can start with Python. And if you think that Python, it is something which you are find overwhelming, you can think of starting with R. But at the end of the day, you need to learn both. And once you are comfortable with one thing, you can always switch to another, and that is really very easy. Now, why I think you should focus more on Python, because Python is the day of Python is today's most popular language. You can see this indexing, and there are many other indexing available where you can see the ranking of different programming languages. You can see Stack Overflow trends also. So you see Python is becoming popular day by day. It is becoming everyone's choice in data science. Those who were using R, those who were loving R, they are also doing most of their stuff in Python, and they have reasons for that. So that's why I would say that if you want to start with one, you can start with Python, and definitely you can always go back to R. Now, how to gain those skills? I have given you a big list of skills, but my opinion on how to get those skills is, first, you should read great books. There is no shortcut to that. If you read great books, then definitely it's going to give you great fundamentals. You need to take courses or watch experts talk, but those should be from experts, those who know the subject well. You should not watch anyone's YouTube video where you feel that you think that it's easy to understand, but they might be doing something wrong. I've seen some of the YouTube videos people prepare, or some of the blogs they write. These days we see some of the predatory or kind of stuff where some of the facts are not true. So you need to be careful. Now tools, definitely R, Python, whatever, Tableau, Power BI, you need to do hands-on almost every day. Selected tools, you start with one or two tool and do practice regularly for that. You need to join some communities, discussion forums, groups, so that you can involve in discussions, you can stay updated. You need to learn every day, and you need to learn from everyone. Whenever you see hyperlink, you can click there and you will read, find some related resource there. Now, what should you do after the degree and course? So definitely after you are done with the degree and course, most of you might be passing out this year, and they think that I have done a course, I have done a data science degree, I have done these course, but what should do after that? So first of all, you should build a strong online portfolio. Online portfolio means it should be your data science project portfolio, and it should be something which helps you to do your personal branding. So your online presence, and when I say online presence, choose the social media platform where you can make an impact. take care of what you should do and what you should not do in that social media platform to harm your personal branding. I have written some of the posts regarding this, how you should leverage the power of LinkedIn. Everybody should on LinkedIn, those who are doing job search or those who are in the professional community, everybody should do use the power of LinkedIn. It's very powerful tool. You will not even need to apply the job. If you are using it the right way, jobs will come to you. So that is really important. And I'm not talking too much about personal branding and using the power of social media and effective Googling. It will take, it is another one complete topic. But for projects, I would say when it comes to projects and putting them on GitHub and showing it in your resume, well, what people do is they take projects from internet, GitHub, Kaggle and everything and copy pasted the put and just take credit. That is not good. That is not ethical and that is not good. So you should not use copy pasted material. You need to give something from your own learning, what you are going to, how you are going to improve that project, and it should be well documented. You should add your own insight. You might try to add some of your own data, something like that, so that your project stands out, because everybody is doing these projects, everybody is putting it on GitHub, everybody is showing it in your resume, in their resume. So how you are going to make it different for your resume, that you need to think. Hackathons, in these competition you should participate. You learn a lot. Even if you don't perform well initially, that's completely okay, but you learn a lot from the community and over the time you improve, and they give you some insight about how projects work. So you should do that. You should participate in the events, webinars, conferences, and after this pandemic we see there are so many events happening, and those are live events, so we can attend any conference that is happening in the US, and most of the time it's free of cost. So leverage that power, just do that. And networking, it's really important that you connect with the right people, you follow them, how to do networking and how, what are the do's and don'ts of networking. I'm not talking about that, but you make sure that you just start networking with the right people. Don't just close yourself with your peers and teachers and seniors. Just try to get out of this world and connect with the people. There are people around the globe who are ready to help you. You need to connect them. And yes, before you ask anything, you need to give them anything. You need to try to giving back to the society. Don't do this mistake that you join somebody on some social media platform and you start bothering them by giving them one-to-one message that I'm looking for a job. Please look at my resume. How can I improve? Because they get tons of message every day. They don't get time to reply one-to-one to all these things. You follow their post, you will learn a lot. And maybe it depends how you approach them. Sometimes they will reply. It's not like that they will not reply, but you need to take care how to ask for help. Now, how to get a dream job? There are basically three things when it comes to getting a job. That first of all, you need to be in a position where you started getting interview calls, right? So for that, there are things like for interview calls, I would say first is definitely competency, your skill, which is there. If you are skilled enough, then only you can apply or you can get interview jobs. Another thing is, I would say, job hunt skill. Job hunting is also a skill. How you are looking for a job. Maybe you are not finding the right platform. Maybe you are not using the right keywords. Maybe you are not looking at the right time, or there are different other things you need to take care how you are doing job hunting. Now, getting interview calls means suppose you got jobs, you are applying. I see many people say that I applied to 100 companies and I'm not even getting one single interview call. So it means there is something in the resume, CV, or we can say cover letter, all those things. So you need to take care of these things. These days, you might hear those advices. There are so many things, one page resume, show your project, show your impact and all those things. And you need to take care if the company is using ATS, so your resume is ATS friendly. Some companies prefer having video resumes, so you need to learn the art how you can create video resume. So all those kind of things, if you have some skills there, then you will start getting calls. There are so many thing, but let me just summarize because we are approaching 12:30, and even after you are getting the job, then you should know how to ace that interview. If you, sometimes it happens, you are getting job calls, you are good enough for that role, but you are not getting through it. So maybe you are not able to convince the recruiter that you are a good fit. So you need to have this art that you convince the recruiter that why you are a good fit for the company, what is different in you which others don't have, how you can make an impact, how you can help the company grow. So all these things, even if you are good at technical things, you have to market yourself. You need to create a brand, you need to market yourself. So that is really an important skill. And sometimes we don't know everything which is asked there in the technical interview. That's okay. Interview don't need 100% technical answers to be correct, or you need to know the art of molding the interview in the direction where you are more comfortable, where you can convince them nicely. So these things are really important. And getting the offer, sometimes we are passed through this 1 and 2, we are there, we have done well in the technical interviews, and we heard the good feedback from the interviewers right there. They said that they like your profile or their skills, your skills and everything, but still you are not getting the offer. Then there might be something which you need to learn more. There might be the skills like negotiations skills, follow up. Sometimes we just need to do 1 or 2 follow up, or sometimes we need to know how to negotiate well. So these are all different skills we need to learn, and these are not specific to data science. This is applicable to wherever you are applying, whatever you are applying, right? And this is my post here where I have written the same thing, but you can read the post and you can read the comments there to learn more about this thing. Now let me give you some more insight. These are some more advices for the job seekers which I have given on my LinkedIn. I think I've just added 2-3 links here, but there are more links of my post. You can just browse my post. I hope you know how to browse anyone's post on LinkedIn, or maybe using the right hashtags. You will find the advice how to use the power of LinkedIn and also on. Now let's talk about, if you feel that I have done all these things, is still not working for me. So you need to make sure that what happens is, many times your basics are not good enough. I have seen that people are putting their resume on LinkedIn. They are active on LinkedIn. They are getting the traction. They are putting their resume even on LinkedIn, and in their resume, it was just first catching my eye when I was just looking at the first page, or maybe first few lines. They have mentioned the project, and in the project they have written something very weird, that they said that my first project was, you can read here, my first project was a prediction model with 80% accuracy. How can be a linear regression model or prediction model be with this accuracy? So they have mentioned in the detail of that the model was using linear regression or something for prediction, and they are using accuracy as the matrices. So this matrix is not correct. So it's not enough if you learn Python and sklearn. This is just the calculator, just the tool. You should know how to use that calculator. So you are using regression, you are using accuracy, you are using classification, you are using accuracy for imbalanced data set. So these things are not the correct things. So immediately the recruiter get an impression that you even don't have the basics, and it gives a wrong impression. They will not look at the profile. So make sure you do it correctly. And this is my another post where I have written about some, I don't know, advice. Yeah, when you work on some project, someone code or something else, so what happens is you feel that this code is not working for me. Sometimes what happens, you have created a project, and when you go to show this project to someone, some recruiter or someone, and your code doesn't work well. So as I mentioned, you need to take care of the versions, you need to take care of the environment you are working in, so that your code remains stable and workable and reproducible. That is really important. If you are putting those codes in your GitHub profile and the recruiter is checking that and it's not working, it might gives the negative impact. And yeah, take care of this thing. These are all the like times which comes and goes. So the currently time is the slowdown time and recession time. You will sail through it. Accept it, embrace it, keep learning, keep trying, keep applying, but don't let the negativity bother you a lot, right? And one more advice, you should learn from others also. This is not my LinkedIn post. This is someone else. You can see she's a senior data scientist as Amazon. So if you are connected with the right people on LinkedIn, you can learn from them also. 3 mistakes they are I made in early in my career, and she has talked about these mistakes and many people have done comments, so you can learn what not to do or what mistakes not to do in your career. So basically here she is talking about imposter syndrome also, that people at times feel that they can communicate only when their work is done or perfect, and they don't give updates, they don't put things. Many students I see, they are good, they are doing projects, but they are not putting it on GitHub or they are not showing it in their resume because they believe the project is not good enough. That's okay, you are just a student, you are learning, but just shying away from showing your work or just shying away from talking to others, it is again a barrier in going through the this thing. Few people believe that I am an underdog, I have done my graduation from a small town college, or I'm not good at communication, my English is not good, my this skill is not good. That's okay. You are a student, you will learn. But don't just blame all these things for your failures. If you have some goal in your mind, just keep growing, just keep learning, you will learn all these things. So here is one post, I have many to inspire you on this also, but I am just sharing one here. And ultimately, I'm just going to wind up my talk in 2 minutes, 1 minute, I think. So you need to have some growth strategy. You need to have some to-do list or some plan what you are going to learn in these months or these weeks or something like that. So make your own to-do list. These topics, these tools, these resources I'm going to learn and focus on those for that particular period, then move on to next. So this is going to help you build your portfolio, build your skill set in a stipulated time. Whatever time you are thinking, you will give yourself to prepare for data science. Or maybe you can create this kind of a timeline where you mark that in which month what you are going to do, and finally you want to reach the destination. That's all from me. If you have any question, please let me know in the chat window. Yeah, Vishwajit and the participant, chat window is open or not, Vishwajit?
Yes, it is okay.
Yeah, so participant, if you have any particular question regarding to what I have presented or anything else which you want to ask me related to what I can tell you, please feel free to ask.
Ma'am, someone is already that asking questions. You can see from Q&A session.
In the, okay, let me check Q&A. I was actually looking for cat. Can you, Vishwajit, can you read the questions and let me know? There are so many questions there. So can you find out?
Okay, ma'am.
I am also trying. I think.
My first question is that can we use Excel to start a career in data science?
Yes, obviously you can use Excel. Excel is the first tool which you should know. So it depends upon what you are targeting. But yes, Excel is going to help you. I would say learn Excel little bit. And if you are targeting data analyst role, you should learn pivot table. You should learn pivot chart. In Excel, you can learn creating dashboards also. In Excel, there are some add-ins which helps you to do a lot of data related tasks, and data analysis tool pack is one of that. In Excel, you should learn Power Query also. So if you are comfortable with Excel, just start your journey with Excel, and then probably if you have right resources, switch to Power BI. It would be really easy for you to switch to Power BI after Excel. And these two tools, along with some other statistical analysis and visualization skill, will give you a very good portfolio for analyst position. In the beginning, yeah, you need to have SQL2 after that, but in the beginning, that is enough. Yeah, any other question? Because I am seeing.
Ma'am, second question, how can I install the packages like request BS4 on PIP in Jupyter Notebook using Anaconda prompt?
Yeah, to install package, any particular package in Python, there are two types of function usually, the pip install function and conda install function. And it is always written, whatever package you are looking for, I would suggest always go to the official page of that package And in that official page, they have a different kind of code, pip install code, conda install, and something else. GitHub say you can also install from GitHub. So there are codes there. Just copy the code from the official website, paste it there, and usually it works. Sometimes I know we get weird errors in Python and package installation, but specific library I cannot answer right now. Whatever library you are trying to install and you are getting error, you need to learn how to resolve that error, and Stack Overflow is the best website for that. Just put your error in Google search query and it will tell you how other people have resolved the similar error, and you will learn in a process.
Third question is that how can you avoid the overfitting in your model like that?
Yeah,
Overfit.
it is okay. Overfitting, it is related to machine learning. Those who don't know it, when you train a model on a training data, what happens is you try to get a better model. You try to increase accuracy or whatever matrices, performance matrices you are using for that model. And the model fits better to the training data, but whenever you use that model to unseen data, the model perform worse. So that is called overfitting. And to avoid that, there are things. First of all, you need to do parameter tuning, and for that you need to use cross validation. You might have heard about resampling, cross validation. So using cross validation, find out the better parameters so that you don't overfit, especially in neural networks, decision trees, random forest, and deep learning models. They overfit a lot. So we need to tune our parameters, taking care of those things. And if you are talking about the simpler models like linear logistic regression and you see the problems of overfitting, you can also try the regularization thing, rich lasso elastic net models, and definitely to tune their parameters, again you need to use overfitting. And feature engineering also helps to avoid overfitting. You are using too many features which are not required, and you are using features which are multicollinear. There are different factors, so that is also important to avoid overfitting. Basically, you need to understand data. You need to understand the algorithm for which you are facing overfitting, and then you need to understand its parameter. Finally, you need to know the art of tune the parameter using cross validation. I hope I have answered your queries. Anything else?
Yeah, ma'am, 2 or 3 more questions.
Yeah.
What skills to have to start a generalist business analyst role? Skill needed for business analyst role.
Okay, a skill needed for business analyst, you can note down, or I'm just telling you, you need Excel, you need SQL, you need just a moment. You need Excel, SQL, you need some of the visualization tool, and you need I was thinking you are seeing my PPT, but okay, I have stopped sharing. Yeah, Excel, SQL, some of the visualization tool, and a little bit of a statistical analysis. That is good enough as a beginner. So statistical analysis, I think this is one which you need to learn, because in your BTech you don't learn a statistic from that point of view, application point of view, even if you do stat course in your degree. So you need to learn the applied statistical part where you know how to use statistics for analyzing data. And visualization also. So tool you can learn, but you need to learn selecting the right chart and art of data visualization and all those things. So these 3 things as a tool, Excel, SQL, Power BI, these are enough. And definitely if you are comfortable, you should switch to R and Python also at later stage. Yeah.
Yeah, ma'am. Next question is I have completed 3 years in supply chain management. Is it okay if I want to switch into data science, or how should I go ahead in this field?
Okay, so I believe that you have worked in supply chain management. Maybe you have taken a degree, or maybe you have worked in. If you have worked in any industry which is based on operations or supply chain management, you gain some experience regarding their operations, their logistic, their transportation. something like that. And if it is a manufacturing industry or retail, so you know their terminology, how their business works, so you got some business insight, and that's a plus point. Whatever industry you are working, many people who are trying to switch their career, I would say whatever industry you have worked in, you have gained some insight about that particular industry, and you can use that experience now, but you need to learn data science also. So it depends upon where you are in competency level, what all tools you are comfortable with. I would say that you can start with Python as a tool. Those who don't fear programming, or those who don't think that I just can stick to Excel, should start with Python also. Python is very easy. So just start with Python and its libraries. So after just getting the basics and getting the pandas library, you will start to understand data wrangling. And then you can think of how you can use the data which you already use in your supply chain industry, how you can take that data and what kind of problems you can solve. So it depends actually what kind of experience you have gained so far, but you need to think in it in that way, that you had this kind of business problem of this kind of data and how you can use that, and accordingly you choose some tool and try to get insight from that data. That would be a good starting point.
Yes, ma'am. Next question. Could you please highlight more about business analyst tools?
Yeah, I think I had answered that. As a business analyst, you need Excel, SQL, and Power BI, maybe R or Python. So I would say Excel and SQL are must have for analyst, right? Excel everybody knows, but you need to upskill little bit by knowing more features, and just you can watch some videos and do some practice with Excel. SQL you should know, because many companies would be using SQL as databases, but still if you are just starting your career and if you are targeting companies which are small scale companies, they are not yet using SQL. Many of the companies are still using Excel, right? So even if you don't know SQL, you can start applying for the jobs. R or Python. So I would say if you are having some knowledge about statistical analysis, you can start with R. Otherwise, you can start with Python. So any tool which you are using, Excel, R or Python, try to do data wrangling. Let me tell you one example again in detail. If you are using Python, in Python, you should use data wrangling. You should learn data wrangling. Let me tell you here. I think in Python, if you need to learn how you can combine data from multiple, just a moment. How you can combine data from multiple sources. Suppose you are getting data from a website, you are getting data from databases, you are getting data from internet, you are getting data from survey you are doing. So you are having multiple data sets in CSV, Excel, and different other HTML just in those file formats. So how you can get that data in your Python. Those things, and how you can do the queries, subsetting, filtering the data, how you can clean your data, how you can visualize those data. So all those skills, if you want to do these things in Python, you just need pandas library, just one library, and you can start getting insight of data. If you are doing these things in R, you need tidyverse library. Tidyverse is a framework. Basically, you need deploy R and tidyr and reshape these kind of libraries of that. So tidyverse you can Google for R users, and for Python, pandas. And if the company requires you to do some dashboarding task, then you can use Power BI and Tableau. But I would say first you can start applying with Excel, R or Python also, because data visualization you can do in R and Python. You can create beautiful dynamic charts, interactive chart in R and Python. And these are open source. So even if the company is not supporting to buy any new software, you can use R and Python. But suppose you have invested your time in learning Power BI and the company says, no, we use Tableau, or no, we use R or Python. Then you can't use Tableau there, because it's not a paid software and they are not allowing you to use Tableau. So I would say Excel, R, Python, and maybe a little bit of SQL. That is good to start as a data analyst.
Okay, ma'am, there are a lot of questions. So
okay, maybe what you can do is, if there are just 1-2 more questions, I can take that. If there are more questions, what you can do, collect the question in Word file or whatever, and you can mail it to me. So I will
Okay,
answer.
actually, ma'am, we are running out of time, so I
Yeah,
want to close.
I understand. So we can close the session. And I would say this to my participants also, that I have mentioned all the profiles, my profiles on my slide deck. I will share my slide deck with Vishwajit. Vishwajit, I hope you will be able to share my PPT with all the participants.
Oh, yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am.
Okay. So in my PPT,
So,
you have my contact details and profile. I have written a lot of such answers on Quora. So whatever questions you are asking me, I have already answered many of these questions on Quora. You can read there, or otherwise, if you want to reach out to me, you can drop me an email or you can connect to me on LinkedIn. I will answer your queries.
yes, ma'am. So, on behalf of Creatigens Triple IT Bhopal and our organizing team, I would like to thank Dr. Nisa Arora, ma'am, for an enlightening webinar on how to begin a career in data science. Thanks for attending the webinar. We hope you had learned a lot, and we look forward to seeing you in our next event. And we appreciate having fastest growing area clarified. And thanks again for the truly amazing webinar. Thank you, ma'am.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Thank you for giving me the opportunity, Cartigens, and I have shared my contact details in the chat window so that if anyone wants can contact me, and I'll be sharing
Yes,
my slide deck with Vishwajit to be
yes,
forwarded.
ma'am.
Okay, thank you everyone.
And we will share a feedback form so that participant can ask a query, and we will
Yeah,
share all the detail of the form with you.
yeah, that would be great. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay,
Thank you,
yeah.
ma'am.
Welcome.